Anybody who hangs out with me already knows I'm rooting for Deathloop at the Game Awards. It got 9 nominations, the most out of this year, with 2 of them being 2 different characters in Best Performance, both of which are going to get blown out of the water by Lady Dimitrescu, and one of which being for Game of the Year. I know when one game gets lots of nominations, people can get upset about it, which I know I certainly did last year with The Last of Us 2, which I have strong opinions about, but I think that Deathloop honestly earned all of these nominations. So I want to go through all of them and talk about why it's earned its place this year. For the record, I'm not voting for Deathloop in every category, but it is a valid choice for each of the categories it got. So let's jump right into it. Best Narrative. You play as Colt Vaughn, who wakes up on a beach with amnesia and a hangover. He quickly discovers that he's in a time loop. We all know Groundhog's Day, starring Bill Murray. He sees a bunch of floating words in an alternate timeline Colt that tells him he needs to break this time loop. He also meets Juliana Blake, who is a surprise tool that will help us later. She also tells everyone on the island, who are all people who willingly entered the time loop, to kill you. So that's neat. Oh, and only Juliana and Colt remember anything between loops, so everyone thinks it's the first day of the loop. You learn you need to kill all 8 visionaries, the people who maintain the loop, in one single day in order to break the cycle. The whole game revolves around learning what happens during the loop and when to plan accordingly, in a similar way to Majora's Mask. For example, every day at noon in Uptown, this building catches fire and burns. However, in the morning it's still there, and you can see that this machine causes the fire. Follow the wires and disable all the electrical boxes, and the building won't burn down at noon. The game is filled to the brim with things like this that you can manipulate. There are also tons of notes and audio logs around that tell you about the lore of Black Reef, what the people are up to, and what all the visionaries are like. You can see they really fleshed out everything about the environment, and this game's whole thing is interacting with the environment to change what happens between differing timelines. Best Performance. Juliana and Colt talk to each other over the radio throughout the whole game, and I just love these characters so much. Colt is a man with a mission, but he also has compassion at the same time. He's already one of my favorite protagonists in games. I can't really explain Juliana without spoiling stuff, but she's sassy and annoying in a super fun way. And I love all the short dialogues of her trading barbs with Colt.
Staying local this time. Simply fascinating.
Thought I'd bring my neighbors a casserole.
Charlie prefers his food drinkable.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Oh yeah, you and he have plenty in common.
Friendship is a beautiful thing, Juliana. You should try it sometime.
But I have so many friends, Colt, and we all think you suck.
The actors really brought their characters to life, and a bit of a hashtag SJW sidebar here. I think it's really cool that they made these characters black and gave them black actors. Their speech has a dialect to it that white actors just don't capture in the same way, and it makes them different from the endless Commander Shepard protagonists that we have seen time and time again. Plus, representation is always a great thing. Great job to Jason E. Kelly and Ozioma Akai, who have also played Doomslayer and Alex Vance, respectively. Best Art Direction. All the areas of Black Reef truly feel unique from each other. Hell, even small individual subsections of each big section feel super distinct. Example, Freestad Rock has Frank's Club and Fia's Bunker, which are very different from each other, with one having fun, bright oranges and the other having cold, dark greens. Updom is definitely my favorite area of the game. The alleys are narrow and packed with people. Charlie's game corner is clearly super nerdy and fun, and Alexis's party is fancy and decorated. Most of the game has a 60s aesthetic, but every area is unique and gets the Visionaries vibe across perfectly. Best Score in Music and Best Audio Design. I'm talking about both at once because they're similar. The score, sound effects, and general audio are all of high quality, but there are a few particular things with them. This game uses short musical stings that play when you solve or find a mystery. And these things actually use leitmotifs from the menu music. This is my favorite part of the audio design by far. Then we've got the music that plays when you fight a visionary. It's the same song for all of them, but they have a key difference that gives each of them an extremely different tone. Instruments. Here's a bit from Wenji's Lab. It has a really distinct style, right? Now here is Alexis's party. Effectively the same song, but it's also completely different. Alright, let's get on to the meat of everything. Best action game. Finally, we get to the gunplay. You know, the actual game. There is not a big variety of guns, but all of them feel distinct and unique. So I really think less is more in this case. You can also get trinkets, both for individual weapons and for Colt himself, that do all sorts of things that give the game the real variety. Faster reload, bigger magazine, bigger range, better accuracy scoped, better accuracy from the hip, more health, make less noise, faster move speed, faster crouch speed, speed, faster takedowns, the list goes on. You can also get slabs that are basically superpowers. Teleportation, invisibility, stuff like that. My main criticism is that there's basically no variation between normal enemies, but luckily the terrain and cover of each area is different enough to make every combat still interesting and fun. There's also a PvP element to this game, where you can choose to play as Juliana and invade people who are playing as Colt. And when you're playing as Colt, you can get invaded by other real players who are playing as Juliana. It's pretty balanced, as Colts and Julianas are constantly discovering new counterplay and strategies, able to set traps for each other and catch each other off guard. I could talk about this for so long, but I should start to wrap up. Best game direction. I'm no expert on the behind the scenes stuff, but this game clearly had a vision. The narrative and gameplay themes are consistent throughout almost the whole game, and to me, that's the sign of a team on the same page. Also, the game was delayed by 3 months because they didn't want to crunch the development team, and that's pretty awesome to me. One complaint that I have is that it's a bit too handholdy with telling you exactly where to go, so if you feel up to it, feel free to turn objective markers off. I kinda wish I had done that. All of this comes together to form a game that I absolutely love. The action is so satisfying, the visionaries are a lot of fun to take out because they're all awful people. The music and audio is great, and the characters of Colt and Juliana are so much fun. Their actors absolutely killed it in the booths. If you don't want to vote Deathloop for the Game Awards this year, I understand, because there are a lot of great contenders this year, especially for Game of the Year. I mean, I had to choose between this and Psychonauts 2, and that was a really hard choice. But as much as I love Psychonauts 2, and it deserves all the praise that it's getting, I think Deathloop deserves the title just a bit more. Regardless, I love this game, and if you have a good PC or somehow have a PS5, I'd recommend diving into the island of Blackleaf. Thanks for listening to me rant, and maybe sometime I'll be Juliana in your game. I'll see you then.